Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we can get our afternoon session started with your permission, if that's okay. My name is Craig Marsh. I'm the Faculty Dean at Liverpool Hope University in the UK. You're easier to get the attention of than my students, I can tell you that. If you haven't heard already, we will be hosting the Skillman International Forum Conference in November the 4th and the 5th. And if you don't know what Guy Fawkes Night is, then you will find out when you come over to Liverpool in November. So we will mention it more than once over the next 24 hours. This afternoon session, apart from being called the graveyard shift, which is always the one straight after lunch when everyone falls asleep, is about Centres for Vocational Excellence. And my distinguished panel will give examples, will unpick the characteristics of those centres, and we'll talk about the solutions of some of the issues and challenges that were so well presented to us before lunch. We are going to try and make this session as interactive as is possible for the session straight after lunch when everyone has drunk wine. And what we would like you to do, please, again, is put your questions to the app. I have enrolled my attractive assistant, Giovanni, to help me with the managing the questions this afternoon. So we will try and get through all of them, myself and my colleagues. So we would like to make it as interactive as possible. I may even ask you, if you put your question into the app, to present your question in person. So watch out for that as well, to try and keep you awake. We will also try and keep a little bit to time, and this session is designed to finish at 10 to 4. Without further ado, I'd like to present my colleague, Faton Deshishku, who is going to spend 10 minutes presenting a fascinating project that he's been working on with 6 different countries. So Faton, over to you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Greg, and thank you for everybody for being here. Without going to the details at the moment, I will represent the GreenCo initiative today. Actually, GreenCo is an NGO working towards vocational education and training concepts, and also providing solutions for different vocational education systems. So in this regard, I will present today the initiative from GreenCo for the Western Balkans. So it's building a green and digital centers of vocational excellence in the Western Balkans. Let me begin by framing the challenges. Across the Western Balkans, we are seeing an urgent need for skills, skills mismatch, particularly in 3 critical domains: green technologies, digital innovation, and vocational readiness. This is not just an education issue, it's a barrier to sustainable growth and competitiveness. By 2030, every country in the region is expected to align with the EU Green Agenda. This ambition is backed by significant investment, around 1 billion per country in potential EU support. But the real question is, do we have the workforce ready on this transition? Today, we face critical shortages in sectors such as renewable energy, construction, advanced manufacturing, and ICT. These are not distant concerns. This is a now issue. And these sectors all require new vocational profile, ones that our current system often cannot yet provide. Why? Because many existing vocational systems still lack recognition tools, digital integration, and strong links to SMEs, which are essential for creating real pathways to employment and innovation. Without a structured COVE model tailored to our regional needs, green and digital transition risk being under-delivered across the Western Balkans. This is where GreenCo comes in. And all in the next slide, I'll show how to translate these challenges into regional opportunities. To ground our vision, in fact, let's zoom into the Western Balkan region and look at the concrete region transition initiatives already underway. Alongside pressing vocational needs they guarantee. In Albania, a 1 billion subsea interconnector project linking Italy, Albania, and United Arab Emirates is underway, powering solar and wind parks. Experts estimate an urgent need for 2,500 technicians in solar photovoltaic systems and high voltage direct current transmission technologies. In Bosnia and Herzegovina, a major World Bank energy transition loan is being used to repurpose coal region. This alone requires coal to clean reskilling packages for over 7,000 miners and transformation of workforce at scale. In Kosovo, a 40 million energy efficiency program is targeting public buildings. This significantly raises demand for certified energy auditors and retrofit specialists, roles that do not yet have fully standardized training paths. Meanwhile, in Montenegro, a massive gigawatt renewable energy pipeline has been announced, with new solar projects like Chair 50 megawatt installation. This calls for new VT standards, particularly in solar operation and maintenance and supervisory control and data acquisition systems. In North Macedonia, is pushing forward with 1.7 gigawatt of renewables, and it's first major solar energy auction. This highlights the needs to rapidly expand dual education programs in renewable energy tech. And finally, in Serbia, the UNDP Green Transition Program is already integrating green skills into 40 secondary technical schools. But this is only a starting point. The challenge is national level, aligned and curriculum modernization. As you can see, the transition is not hypothetical. It is real, resource, and already happening. But the vocational ecosystem in these countries are not yet equipped to deliver the skills that are urgently needed. This is exactly why a regional COVID model like GreenCo is not just timely, but necessary. As a response to the urgent need outlined across the Western Balkans, the GreenCo initiative is not just a concept. It's a structured, scalable solution. We envision a regional center of excellence that will upskill youth, pivot actors, SMEs, not in isolation, but in coordinated ecosystem focused on green and digital transformation. Provide modular AI-integrated micro-credentials recognized by EU level, leveraging platforms such as coves.eu and EBSI for validation. Fuse together boot camps, blended learning, and on-the-job training, enabling hands-on adaptive skills formation. Align tightly with EU Green Agenda 2030 priorities and tap into funding streams, including IPA 3 and Erasmus+. Actively promote inclusion, ensuring women and minority learners are part of the green transition. Start with the Kosovo pilot, but prepare for 6 centers of excellence across the region, forming a long-term regional skills alliance. This is how GreenCo translates policy priorities into local action with measurable, inclusive, and future-proof impact. We translated GreenCo vision into a concrete roadmap starting now and moving through 2026. We have established core alliance with GreenCo NGO, a committed DET college, a university, and a lead employer. This anchors the initiative in local ownership and cross-sector collaboration. We are currently exploring funding opportunities, including an Erasmus+, small-scale partnership call to initiate early-stage activities and technical groundwork. We've scouted a location for the Fab Lab. With ETF guidance, we are benchmarking our concept against EU COVID excellence standard using the ISAT COVID tool. A draft character is underway, detailing governance, gender inclusion targets, and sustainability model to long life term operation. This roadmap is more than a timeline. It's a framework that blends local ownership, EU alignment, and scalable potential. Let me walk you through the strategic vision for scaling Centers of Vocational Excellence across the region. First, our plan is to establish partner with 6 existing coves, 1 in each Western Balkan country. This ensures national ownership while contributing to a cohesive regional framework. Second, we are aligning the initiative with ETF Blueprint for Centers of Vocational Excellence. This means adopting the ETF quality standards and peer review mechanism to ensure that each COVE meets recognized benchmark for excellence, consistency, and mutual recognition across the region. Third, our model is inspired by the Win for SMEs approach in Germany, which demonstrates the power of strong SME engagement, modular learning paths, and institutional partnership. Finally, we are taking the phased approach with feasibility, which is currently underway with by Research Institute FIAP in collaboration with the University of Pristina under the Web 2025 initiative. A pilot in Kosovo to test the model and localize its application, scale up across all 6 countries, forming an interconnected regional COVE alliance. So let's reflect on why this moment and this partner matter. The timing is critical. The green transition and digital shift are actively reshaping and skilling landscape in the Western Balkans. Massive investment flows, like those under the EU Green Agenda 2030, require scalable, aligned training solution, and they require them now. So why Skillman? Skillman isn't just a network, it's a unique ecosystem. It's a pan-European platform grounded in ENTRICOP, I, and EQ VET frameworks. Through design thinking for educational innovation, leadership in micro-credentials via BQF and EPSI. Skillman provides the ideal transitional anchor to align standard across 6 national COVEs, offer ready-made adaptable tools and training resources, ensure rigorous quality assurance and measurable impact. To realize green vision and deliver regional COVE model, we are now entering a decisive phase. These next steps will shape our direction. We're finalizing the groundwork with inputs from Web 2025 and ETF to validate the model and ensure alignment with EU excellence criteria. We aim to engage ministries of education and economy, BET agencies, and forward-looking anchor companies in each Western Balkan country. This involves building a participatory roadmap, integrating industry voices, BET institutions, civil society, and local champions. We are actively mapping support opportunities through EU IPA 3, Erasmus Plus, bilateral donors, and technical assistance. Kosovo will serve as a first pilot site, paving the way for the 5 additional COVEs, 1 per Western Balkan country, and the creation of regional skills alliance. So thank you very much, and please share any feedback, suggestion, or interest in direct involvement.
So I'm sure you will have questions about how that structure has been put together. It strikes me that we have to be entrepreneurial to be able to lead the development of entrepreneurial skills across the continent, and there's a great example of it. Partnership is surely one of the entrepreneurial skills that has been less discussed so far, but the development of partnerships is clearly critical to your success there, Faton. So thank you for presenting that to us. What I've now done is asked each of my colleagues on the panel to take no more than 5 minutes, and there will be a timer here, to present themselves, to present any particular challenge or opportunity or solution that they're developing that is going to be of interest to us as the audience. So I'd like Filippo, please, to start. Filippo, Ninno, I don't think needs any introduction, but of course he's from the European Training Foundation and is crucial, I think, to this conversation. Filippo.
For Ninno, I'll go straight to the point. You can click on so I can show you that it's going to be shorter. I'll be quite short because I don't have a solution. I know that solutions are more interesting than identifying problems, so try to put attention on some specific policy priority. I still have to do it, so I'll go straight to it. I'll give more time to my colleagues. If you have to simplify and oversimplify just to make best use of the time, I mean, one of the 2 functions which Centre of Excellence have is being hubs for innovation and engines for competitiveness. That's the most difficult aspect and function of our Centre of Excellence because they're all, most countries, most models for Centre of Excellence are former education providers. So they are quite used in providing key competence and competence to learners. But when it comes to really lead the partnership with the private sector, it's a bit more complicated for them. However, it is absolutely crucial that they take over this function to actually reply to the skills needs in our country, in particular in the Western Balkans. When we talk about being hub for innovation and engine for competence, we talk about several functions from incubator to startups, some sectoral projects similar to what we've just seen on specific sector in partnership with the key stakeholders, fab labs, facilitating the access of micro and small companies to high level equipment from the Centre of Excellence. So these are all examples, but the one which I would like to focus on more, which is I think is the most important, is the anticipatory upskilling anticipatory function for upskilling and reskilling of people working in companies. We are not asking the Centre of Excellence to actually make an analysis of the skills which are needed in the labor market, because there are so many organizations that are already doing it, whether it's international organizations like the ETF or CEDEFOP, or is national observatories or specific university in the country, but the evidence is there. Or just as I can mention ETF, we do skills mismatch calculation in the Western Balkans, analysis online job vacancies, together with CEDEFOP, we do the European Jobs and Skills Survey, and I could mention additional 2 or 3 studies. So the evidence is that what we ask is Centre of Excellence to take the leadership to go along with small and medium companies, who represent more than 90% of the companies in our countries, and to deliver training with 2 main purposes. The first one is to make the companies grow, which actually will allow to have more employment. And the second one is to identify the workforce which is at risk of being laid off. And we have several countries which approached ETF saying, we know already that we have 20,000 people that will lose the work, so we need to address their training now. So these 2 functions are absolutely crucial. It's not easy for small and medium enterprises to be active in that regard, because they don't have huge HR departments, it's not like Siemens. So for them, they need the support of actors, and the Centre of Excellence are the better suited to provide this support. So for me, this is a plea for everybody who's actually working in Centre of Excellence to make the extra effort to create partnership. You don't have to you don't have to be alone. You have several examples in countries like in Italy, we have the ITS, where the universities and Centre of Excellence cooperate together with enterprises. So in each country, you might find a different combination of NGOs, schools, providers, companies, but you need to really take the leadership, because it's more difficult for policymakers in the government to actually do it than for Centre of Excellence. So this is more or less a plea for our other speakers.
Thank you so much, Filippo. So a couple of really important things there. Again, partnership has come out several times in our conversation so far. The collaboration between different actors and stakeholders that COVES represents, how those are brought together to deploy and add value to the skills development in the region. You also mentioned the dark side of employment, people laying off workers. I assume that we can think of those people as perhaps not being having the latest skills, so they themselves will need upskilling and reskilling, and therefore the COVE has a role to play in that development.
I just want to make a small of course, COVES have to be active also in supporting unemployed people in the context of labor market measure. But the anticipatory function is important, because you can prevent these people to be unemployed, which is always a bit traumatic, not to lose your job and then you have to go through the labor market measures. As much as possible, if you actually anticipate what are potentially the risk of being unemployed because of lack of skills, this is going to be quite beneficial for the people who don't become unemployed.
Thanks, Filippo. And I assume actually being anticipatory also means maybe the companies themselves don't necessarily realize what those skills are that you need to be developing. So that's the leadership function, right?
That's the problem with small and medium companies. They don't have whether the capacities to really read the future. They are more reactive. So it's really needed from their side to have a partner who can really help them in providing those expertise that big companies have in their HR departments.
Excellent. Thank you, Filippo. So any questions that arise from the 2 excellent presentations we've heard so far, please use the QR code, put your questions in, and we'll try and come to them a little later. They are starting to come through, but I'd like each of my colleagues just to present themselves to the audience first, so that we can hear who they are and what their particular contribution is. So I haven't structured an order here, so I'm going to take my colleagues by surprise. Annalisa, would you like to go next?
Yeah, okay. Thank you. Can you hear me? Yeah, I guess it's really out loud. And I'm Annalisa Marchetti. I'm representing YAL Marche. YAL Marche is a vet provider, a very important vet provider in Marche region, and it is also part of a bigger net that is present in Italy. So it means in 14 regions in Italy, there is a YAL. Okay, so we have YAL Emilia Romagna, YAL Lombardia, and so on and so forth. And the good news is we are 70 years old, not me, but YAL Marche. And we celebrated our our birthday 2 weeks ago, and we are really the digital transition really has to start from us, okay? And this entails a very reorganizational projects. For example, here we have with us one intern research who is studying on how to apply in artificial intelligence to the company process. And Jan-Marke's approach is a really integrated approach. It's not an isolated action. This means we work with companies, we work with workers, we work with unemployed people. This means we experience more or less all we have told today, from the teachers lacking to the needed of upskilling students and workers and company and so on and so forth. And so our approach is an integrated also because we really attempt to work together with public and private sector, and above all to develop the sectors who are more representative in our region, Marche region. In Marche region, the manufacturing sector, for example, is the most important one, and the digital transition required a reorganizational process, not just of the operational tasks, but also of the managerial and strategic tasks. And our companies in our region are small-sized companies, as you told before, and they usually face a lack on fundings and financing. So our attempt is, of course, to reorganize and to help company and their workers and also unemployees to upskill and to update their digital skill, and but using mainly fundings, okay? And this means that many of our activities are funding by then I can have a list if you want, but I think there is, for example, the interprofessional funds and or Marche region. We answer to calls from Marche region to help company and unemployees to face the digital transition. Am I on time?
Yeah, absolutely spot on. Yes, thank you so much. Thank you so much. So actually, one of the things I heard you mention there, because we talk a lot about this skills development at the individual regional level, but you're also working with the companies at the highest level to make sure that they're restructuring themselves in a way that makes them able to upskill, reskill. So you mentioned financing, you mentioned company structure, these kinds of issues. So it's almost like a broad consulting you're doing with companies. Is that right?
Yeah. For example, as I told before, we help company with interprofessional funds. That means to have a total free training to their employees. But it is not just to update a skill, it's to reorganize a whole process, the company process. For example, let me give to you some technical example. We answer to a call from Marche region that is on in-company lifelong learning. And in this company, in this call, we worked together with a company based in San Benedetto del Tronto, and we realized two activities called creativity and digital transformation. That was about the ability to propose innovative solutions through a conscious use of digital tools. And another one that is very interesting is the analysis of emerging technologies and innovative trends. And this helps entrepreneurs to anticipate the new trends. It's a training that helps them. Also, we organize another very important activity on ERP. that is a system to manage better the supply chain and to build a network between all the organizational process, the managerial, these are just two examples, but of course.
Perfect, thank you. So upskilling is also about restructuring and redeveloping processes inside the organizations as well. That's a really interesting thing that's developed. So thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's great. We can come back if there are any other particular insights that you have when we get to the questions. Thank you so much.
Okay.
So Concetta, can we pass to you? Is that okay?
Thank you. My name is Laura Screpanti.
I'm sorry, Laura. Apologies.
My-
I knew I'd get one of them wrong.
Okay. I'm working with the Foundation ITS, Nuove Tecnologie per il Made in Italy nelle Marche, which is a large foundation delivering courses co-designed, co-delivered with the companies here in the Marche region. The model we use is to design first phase the instructional design of the courses with and for the local territories. So there is this analysis of the needs of the territories. For example, as Annalisa was saying before, we have a strong manufacturing sector, and we have also strong differences between these manufacturing sectors across all the Marche region. For example, we have the mechatronics district in Ancona and Recanati, for example. We have also oil and gas in Fano. We have, for example, pharmaceutical and biomedical manufacturing processes going on in Ancona and Ascoli Piceno. So there are lots of sectors we have to support. We have to create courses facing the skills, delivering the skills and the training these kind of companies are requiring. So the first ally to develop such courses are the companies themselves. Second allies are schools and universities. So combining these three efforts, these three pillars, we are able to deliver good and quality courses. I was reading the word cloud before, and I saw quality is one of the words that the audience highlighted, and I am really happy to share that our courses are among the most recognized in Italy by Indire. Also, I can read in the word cloud digitalization and inclusion, and this is two aspects which I care very deeply, because manufacturing processes are inclusive in this way, not just for people who did not struggle during the educational process. I can bring you the example of several of our students struggling during the secondary education throughout this compulsory education and finding their way through the ITS and succeeding in being the best at at gaining these digital skills, self-organization, and they really enjoyed and became the ambassadors of our courses. The courses of the foundation are organized in 2 years, 1,800 hours spent, half in the classroom and half in at the company's facilities. So they receive training on the job at the company's facilities, and they also gain some insights from university and from school on basic knowledge about technical skills and competencies. For example, in Recanati, we have the design and product management course, and students are able to put their hands on CNC machine, 3D printers, laser cut machine, and so on. In Ancona, for example, they deal with robotics and the robotic manipulators, and they are very, very happy to do that and to enter the job market with these particular skills. So this is my experience with the Foundation ITS.
Thank you so much, Laura. And it is wonderful to hear you talking about those students who would normally struggle in the system and then succeeding and becoming ambassadors. And for those of us who work with students or learners who have often come from really poor or deprived areas, and where they don't have the confidence that they need potentially to succeed, and you give them that and develop them. That has to be one of our core themes, does it not, for the conference? And I know this is something that Giovanni is particularly passionate about, so it's great to hear you giving that example. So thank you so much, Laura. You also mentioned quality, and I do think that's quite a nice link to our next presenter, Concetta. We'll now come to you, if you mind. So Concetta, working for INAPP, so you can talk a little bit about your role. Thank you.
Thank you for the floor. First of all, good afternoon to everyone. I'm Concetta Fonzo from INAPP. I'm the National Deputy Coordinator of the National Reference Point of ICAVET in Italy and Referenet Italy. So it's a pleasure for me to be here. Yes, of course, what I would like to introduce is the, let's say, the quality or quality assurance approach to these initiatives. With our research group, we started some years ago looking at European initiatives and national initiatives related to excellence in VET. And when we started looking at this new landscape in Europe and beyond, it was interesting to see how these initiatives can be different. They are very different. They are heterogeneous in terms of approach, in terms of concepts. But at the end, what we have seen that there was anyway a common, let's say, fil rouge. There was a common element, and this was exactly quality and excellence that all these initiatives started to pursue. But also when it comes to quality, usually the approach can be very different, because you can have an approach from the users level, from the provider level, from the structural level, organizational, national, and so on. So quality is not only a tool, it's not only an approach to a particular measure, it's not only impact, it's not only assessment, it's a culture. It was first of all a cultural approach for us, but it's also a challenge, because when you talk about quality, you have also to bear in mind that you are talking about a time-consuming approach. You need to talk about financial issues and also skills. And it's not, when I talk about the skills, it's not related to the user skills, but to the staff skills, to the skills of the practitioners, of the professionals. What we have seen in our research is that at the moment we have a lot of tools. Many of them are excellent tools developed by different actors. We have the excellent ISTA-cover from ETF and so on. We also promote as ICAVET, the ICAVET the framework, we promote the peer review at provider level, but these tools are not self-standing, alone-standing tools. They need people that implement them. This means that you need people that have the right skills and competencies to use these tools. It means that these people need to have the skills also in terms of data literacy. They need to have competencies in the use of new digital tools. It's a long, let's say, a long procedure. You need also to implement these tools in an integrated way. Especially if we look at the cover, for example, the cover have public-private partnership approach, which means that there are also already in place some tools coming from the private sector and from the public sector. So what we are trying at the moment to do is to see how we can integrate them, because avoiding duplication, avoiding overlapping is our first task. But this means also to approach quality in a different way. It means looking at quality not only as a bureaucratic administrative approach, it means looking at quality as a more inclusive. Also in terms of approach, it means looking at quality in the digital and green transition. It means looking at quality as really the future, which is not only going and in a shop and buying a quality item. It means going into in a new context and see really what quality means for people. So we have done a lot in terms of approaching quality from an internal, external point of view, because it's not only the level of quality that you have to approach, you have also to see how quality is seen internally for those that implement the activities, and how quality is seen from external point of view, because it makes the difference, and it's very important, especially when it comes to the COVE, to look, for example, to the level of trust that they can have in different contexts, because people can acquire different skills, skills can be recognized, validated, but then if at the end the labor market is not open to welcome these, let's say, acquisitions, of course, it's all based on a trust approach. So that's what at the moment I can add to the discussion.
Thank you so much, Concetta. It was interesting to hear you talk about the culture of quality being so important. I know you described some elements of that. I mean, I know for those of us who have been in cultural and quality regimes for many years, there's been a transition from that sort of auditing and checking and bureaucratic approach and almost the quality person being the policeman through to one which is more collaborative, based on trust, as you said, one which is a process of continuous improvement and partnership. And this seems to be the way that you're approaching it. Is that a reasonable summary?
Yeah, that's exactly my point of view. I mean, obviously, you need to have, let's say, a hard approach to quality because you have to do some checks, you need some standards, obviously. But again, it was interesting starting from the presentation that we had for this session to see how the word adaptation was introduced. Because you can use different tools. We don't need to have, let's say, a benchmark between the tools telling which is the best tool. It depends all on the level of adaptation. And obviously, what we are pushing at the moment is a voluntary approach, which means that people should really know the added value of a quality assurance system. And it means not only using the tools because they need to use them, because they need, for example, money to finance the activities. They should really know the added value, which means really to understand what they can reach when they have a quality approach, which is different from a bureaucratic approach, obviously.
Excellent. Thank you so much for your input, Concetta, and I'm sure we'll come back to some of those in a minute. Thank you. And you can applaud. And finally, we've left Yuriy to finish off our brief sets of presentations. Yuriy, I'm sure Yuriy Balanyuk, I'm sure is now very well known to this audience, the head of the Qualifications Agency in Ukraine. Yuriy.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Before starting, I want to say thank you. Thank you very much for your countries that you support us, save our peoples before and after Russian full-scale aggression and invasion for our country. Thank you very much. I think
Slava Ukrainian.
Heroyam Slava. And now I want to share our experience, how we in our country check our challenges during these hard times for our country. First of all, you must understand that we work where we can, when we can, and how we can. 24 hours every day. It means that we must, for fast decisions, for fast results, we must have a very deregulated system. In the 1st of April in 2022, Ukrainian Parliament voted a law. I think it was a very small law about developing qualification system, but it was a revolution because we changed rules of developing professional qualification, of developing professional standards. It means that we take a power from a government and give this power to approve professional qualifications to working groups, but power of governments stay in this process, but we move it to the middle. The influence is that government not only regulate, government as our organization, National Qualification Agency, start a service organization that supports a process of developing new qualifications, new professional qualifications, and new professional standards. And in the case of green skills, we used such decision in digital skills, digital competences. Every professional qualification that start developing in Ukraine must use recommendation how to put digital competence in every profession and every professional qualification. It doesn't matter what profession. It means that what percent of content will be about digital competence at the end. It can be used during put green skills in the policy of European Commission. And it shows a real result because government don't have a special budget for developing professional standards. And we organize very mashed up informational company and start working with employers and explain that after that law, after the change in government rules, you have a really power. You can change everything. Your influence is really weak. You will approve a professional qualification after, yes, it is a journey, but at the end you will approve, okay, this professional qualification or not. And about topics speakers before, she mentioned about quality. Quality is the high level because we have 1 month public discussions. Everyone who wants from your countries, from other countries, can propose something during developing these professional standards. And the second information what I want to share, we want nowadays, we prepare a content and Ukrainian parliament vote a law 9630. In this law is written, so after 1 year, National Qualification Agency will be administrator of national classifier and register. It means that in this law is written that we must use all instruments of ISCO and ESCO. It means that our integration to European Union, it's not only about, I see, 30 seconds. It's not only about open hardest. It's really integration for understanding each other in the area of human capital. Thank you.
Thank you, Yuriy. And you mentioned the word giving power to, actually. I thought that was a really interesting element of what you just described, where there is a law in place and it's part of your job as a leader to make sure that businesses, qualifications agencies are empowered, have the power to make those changes in qualifications. That sounds like a really important leadership role.
Yes, and it really shows that percent of growing during last 3 years was 150% more. We have more modern with most actual qualification professional standard than 3 years before. 150, I think, percent if it's count in percent.
Which is an astonishing achievement given the circumstances of the country. Yeah. Okay, thank you so much for my expert panel. And now it's over to you. I hope my attractive assistant over there is ready with the questions. Thanks, Shivani. If you could put up the questions from the audience. So the first question is, COVE means a sustainable structure with all important stakeholders. Therefore, an approach of close relation to companies is one crucial aspect. Different solutions are possible. By and large, the vision is kind of transdisciplinarity. So not really a question as such, but Faton, I think this is something that particularly we've heard you talk about. Would you like just to say a little bit more about how you build those crucial relationships across the COVE that you have?
Yeah, thank you very much. I think we are already tackling this as a solution for the Western Balkans, and this really describes best how the COVE is structured and how this is important for all stakeholders. In our case, for example, coming with an idea of the initiative for the coves in the Western Balkans is mainly relied on the deep background in vocational education that our team has. So in this regard, I was involved in different initiatives and projects throughout the Western Balkans and also in other countries in global regions like in Africa, Asia, and Middle East. But in this contest, I think what is not working in our case is this partnership and collaboration effort between the countries. And therefore, as individual countries, we are not able to provide this service what actually SMEs, for example, or industry needs, because we are so small as a one country. But as a Western Balkans, I think we can provide a solution with a bigger market and also sharing the expertise amongst our countries.
Faton, does that then become a political challenge more than anything else?
This is really a political challenge, but the drivers, I think we should be the drivers, not the political leader, because in our context, I think the change of leadership often in these countries has brought us to this point where nothing is being sustainable. In this regard, nobody's taking ownership or sustainability aspects to continue with the previous work. And when the funding stops, everything stops towards that achieving to that idea. This was also the case with Europe, I think, when as individual countries, it was not functioning that well. But as a structured collaboration between the countries, I think it's working perfectly, maybe if not perfectly, then close to perfect, or they find a solution how to get it done towards achieving the objectives.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Faton. And I wonder my colleagues from Marche would like to comment on the sustainability element, because you've mentioned it came up out of that question. Is there something that you can talk about in terms of how you make it sustainable?
Well, yes, I'm from the foundation, so I want to bring the example of the foundation. The foundation ITS of Recanati is here since 2008. There are several fundings from Europe and also from Italy to establish this program, which is recognized by the Italian education system as a tertiary system. So students completing our path gain AQF 5 level diploma. So this is sustainable because it is recognized and because the competencies we are delivering to students are really meaningful for industries, and they are kept meaningful by this continuous comparison with the actual job market. And this is done by the ongoing dialogue with companies of the territory, and also with the cutting-edge technology led by universities. So this is our model to become sustainable and also scalable in other regions. This is not just a Marche initiative, it is an Italian initiative, the Foundation ITS. So I think this is how we can be sustainable.
So thank you, Laura. So it's the qualifications and make it so those are recognized, they're sustainable in and of themselves, and then they're adaptable according to the needs of the particular market. And those are the two ways that you achieve it. Brilliant. Thank you. Filippo, do you want to say something? You seem to be holding the microphone.
Yeah, I just wanted to pass for the next question. I don't know, there's a question over there.
Do you want to say that one?
It's difficult to answer briefly. Is what can be achieved by joining forces. All the examples of excellence that we know are delivered by a partnership between the private sector, the provider, universities, device provider, depending on the model, depending on the context. But all the examples we have, I mean, show us to what extent, I mean, doing things together, bringing in complementary expertise and understanding can really lead to a huge added value. So I don't think there's a shorter answer than that.
Yeah, it almost strikes me when we talk about partnership that there's a particular attitude that you need to have towards partnership. It's very easy in any organization or any situation to feel almost like tribal, where everybody is against you or opposed to you, whereas this requires a much more openness of thinking, which is one of the things that we define as entrepreneurial skills as well. So yes, thank you, Filippo. So next question is, how can the coves.eu model be systematically integrated into national lifelong learning policies to ensure that green and digital transitions are not only skills driven, but also socially inclusive across regions with differing economic capacities, especially in the Western Balkans? Possibly sounds like another one for you, Faton, actually, to lead on, if I may. Filippo?
Yeah,
Give it a go.
in this regard, we are also aligning our concept with the ETF blueprint concept, and also what we are lacking in Western Balkans is recognition of qualification. And when we are talking about coves.eu model, this perfectly fits into our constant constellation in the Western Balkans, and recognition of qualification amongst the countries. And that's why we are focusing a lot in introducing the micro-credentials as a solution for this aspects. And also this becomes, again, a political issue, but in this regard, I think if we are following the blueprints that are already showing successful implementation in other countries, I think we can align our concept and ideas, and also stream these collaboration efforts amongst different stakeholders in the Western Balkans. And our idea is also to involve the public universities to be as a quality assurance mechanisms for the training that we are providing, and also work closely with the industry, because the issue now, what we are challenging is that our bureaucratical processes for validating a programmee, for example, develop programmee, is taking so much time to implement it. So when we are already into that stage to implement it, that's already obsolete, and the industry is not waiting for us. We have to be ahead.
Thank you, Faton. And that sounds like a good prompt, sorry, Concetta, for you, given that you work in policy development. So one of the things Faton has identified is the importance of those policies around quality assurance, and how they can very quickly become out of date. Is that something that you can comment on and talk about how that may be overcome?
Well, I don't think that really policies can be very fast, or that at the end they can be so fast as the things change. I mean, in a global, really in a fast changing society, and also in a labor market which is continually changing, I think it's very hard to be, let's say, excellent in all and have a high quality in all. What I would like to stress is that what we need is really to be flexible in different approaches. We need to influence, obviously, our policy level. We have to bring evidence about what is going on, but at the same time, we have to be aware that the adaptation and flexibility is really the core of the approach that we can have. It means that we don't need necessarily to find a solution or the right solution for all. It is more, let's say, research of the best solution for the situation in which we are at the moment. And that's also what I think when we look, for example, at realities like Ukraine, which is obviously in a phase of adaptation, of change, of finding the best solution, but in a specific moment, in a specific historical moment in which obviously the people have to adapt in relation to what they have at the moment in terms of resources, in terms of available resources. And obviously I think that the strong point can be also to improve the collaborations and to strengthen obviously the international collaborations in that regard. Because obviously as fast as the best practices can circulate, so faster they can be implemented, because usually what we see from our research is that policies take a long time in terms of to be implemented and in terms to be monitored. So if we really want to to meet the needs of our users, then we really have to be a little bit faster. But this means obviously also to more in depth in the different analysis that we are doing at the moment.
Interesting. So although you are developing policies, which by definition are bureaucratic, what's important is they have built-in adaptability to move as quickly as they can do. And you mentioned also that international contact. So back to that collaboration again, how being exposed to other mechanisms, other ways of doing it, other practices can lead to new ideas and developing new things, thoughts on policy development.
Yeah, absolutely. We believe in the change of best practices, but also in a collaboration which is not only exchanging or not only adapting, but it is also about developing together the new initiatives, because we can also start from different levels of development, but at the end we can try to, let's say, to obtain the same objective or goal, starting from different points, from different levels of development, but it's a common understanding. We start from common, let's say, common language. Common understanding means also to have common definitions, not necessarily the same definition, but we have to, let's say, to find the same objectives which start from the definition of the context in which we are moving.
So standardization itself, of course, can be an engine for growth as well. It allows you to scale and innovate, doesn't it, around a set of common standards. So excellent.
Yeah, common standards, but to be flexible at the same time. This is the challenge.
Interesting dilemma. Thank you, Concetta. We have a question. I think I'm surprised it's taken so long to come up. Actually, it's the first mention, I think, of AI in this particular panel. So the question is, how can coves leverage generative AI to personalize learning pathways and accelerate skills development? Who is brave enough to take this particular step? Annalisa, try to.
It's a very difficult question, but maybe we can leverage generative artificial intelligence to create new tools and to implement, to improve methodologies and to accelerate this way skills development. I think we really need to work on methodology and tools.
So it is a question about learning how to use those tools that are changing all the time, though, aren't they? That's part of the issue that we have. We have a professor of AI who presented to us last week about what's changed in the last 2 months with AI, and surely that's our greatest challenge, isn't it? Particularly people who are over 20.
Yeah, it's artificial intelligence. It's really challenging, but if we work on this, we can get good results. But we need to focus and to work, how to say, let's say, carefully with artificial intelligence. We can have good, really important results, but if we are carefully on that. And if I can answer to another question that was on joining forces, I think we need to join forces to reduce mismatch. That is a very impressive aspect, because the labor market needs some requests, and we need to provide it with such skills, and we need to do our best by joining all together and to deliver programs that are able to answer to the labor market needs. This is very important and very fast to do.
Excellent. Thank you, Annalisa. And Yuriy, I believe you've been dealing with this question as well.
First of all, we can't stop AI. It's the same like to stop Henry Ford in 19th century and using horses till these days. And it means that if we will have enough energy, I think in 2 years, AI will accelerate. Now AI accelerate skills development, qualification development, but in 1 or 2 years, I think it will analyze everything, and the best needs were checked by AI and produced. But we must legalize this process in government rules because it's about quality, it's about intellectual property and other steps that we must organize in our countries.
Thank you, Yuriy. Surely also the biggest challenge for us is to understand what it means to be human in the age of AI as well. We talked this morning, I think, about human skills development. It really puts it into stark contrast, doesn't it? It's also an extremely good tool for the facilitators of panels, because I put into ChatGPT a little earlier, what questions would you ask of a panel of experts on coves? It came up with some really nice questions, actually. But I'm sure my colleagues also use ChatGPT to come up with their answers as well, and we can perhaps all then just go home, I suppose. So the next question is, what organizational efforts and strategic changes must a training center undertake to become a recognized member of coves.eu? Filippo, perhaps this is a question you could kick us off on. Is that okay?
I think I can combine this with another question which was there before. It basically says, what's the difference between Centres of Excellence and as they are presented now compared to the Centres of Competence that were, let's say, leveraged in the past? And the fact is that we don't have in EU a single concept of Centre of Excellence. Okay, so what the Commission did is to try to identify all the possible functions that Centre of Excellence usually cover up, and gives an idea what should be the role of Centre of Excellence to try to cover as many as possible of those functions. There's no single definition. There's no single module. The ETF has done a publication specifically on the different types of Centre of Excellence, looking at all the different models all around the world and trying to identify what are the topologies, etc. And then you could really see that there are different models. Just to make the simplest example, you do have like the vertical Centre of Excellence, which focus on one specific sector. Like Moldova has 13 Centre of Excellence, one per sector. So there's one on digital, there's one on economy, etc. And they are the reference for all the vocational schools in the sector. North Macedonia has a regional approach, so they have a regional vet center for one specific region, and they play a different role because they support the government understanding the needs at the regional level, but they don't specifically work for one sector. So already you have these two examples of completely different approaches. You also have in Europe very specific different models, like Technic is one of the most famous, that they don't provide initial training, so it's completely different from all the others. So in general, there's not a model, there is a direction. So if you go and look at the coves model, the coves function in the document for the European Commission, you will see what are the different functions that really define what Centre of Excellence is. It's clearly the direction is the engagement with the private sector, moving from initial to lifelong learning, the partnership, the cooperation with industry, also for innovation and research. So these are the directions, but there's no clear path and there's no clear module. That really depends on the specificity of the country and of the center who wants to further develop.
So thank you, Filippo. So it sounds more like a set of organizing principles that derive a cove, and then the local stakeholders decide themselves what is the best way of fulfilling the needs of their particular market. Is that how it operates?
Some countries have models which are formally approved, so you are a Centre of Excellence if the government decides you are a Centre of Excellence. In other cases, it's more a self-declaration. It's a provider who feels confident to actually present themselves like a Centre of Excellence. There's no EU recognition. We do have labels if you use the ESATCOV questionnaire, but these don't have any formal recognition. So in some countries you have a list of formal Centre of Excellence. In other countries, no. So for example, to participate to the ETF Network for Excellence, you apply and you are part of the network. We don't ask any formal request to the government. So it's a loose concept in a certain way.
And I think that flexibility and adaptability is probably one of the keys to its success, I imagine. So thank you, Filippo. Our next question is, who should coves turn to for guidance and collaboration when it comes to integrating generative AI into vocational training? Faton, can I put you on the spot of that one, please?
Yeah, in this context, I think as my colleagues here mentioned, we cannot run away from the AI, so we have to endorse it. So in this regard, we are working towards implementation of generative AI when it comes to development
and also it's a tool for us to move much faster in a way to meet the demands of the labor market in this case. In this regard, we are also working to AI modules for different programs that are already developed and to reskill and upskill the teachers or maybe the employees that you need to implement that. So in this regard, we have been developing in-company training in some of the countries. This involves also Kosovo, which we developed a couple of years ago, but that needs now updating because the trends have been changed, the context has been changed, and generative AI, it's a must now to be included in the concept. So when it comes to meeting the future demands, I think the generative AI, it's one of the tools that we have to use at this moment to achieve that excellence. We mentioned that we are not being able to keep up with the trends of the industry and technology development. In this regard, if we can master the AI, somebody earlier mentioned here that most of the institutions do not even understand themselves the AI concept that cannot be measured at this moment. But if we can do that, you can achieve that certain standard where we can measure the outcomes of the AI, then we can predict what is coming in the future. At the moment, it's quite challenging, I can say.
Indeed, and thank you, Faton. This morning, Julian was talking about the fact that we had 95% of our students now use AI as part of their assignments, right, part of their studies. We cannot ignore it. Sorry? At 26 in school, absolutely. And our young people now are treating AI as a personal assistant. So they work alongside them. For those older, it's almost like ChatGPT that you ask the occasional question. For them, it's completely integrated into their way of life, and that's how we should be thinking about it. We had a presentation on agentic AI recently. And now guardrails are the thing. If you don't know what guardrails are, find out, because that's the latest. Get the guardrails right, and the AI works for you. If you don't get them right, then it does its own thing. Filippo?
I think with generative AI, I think it's the first time where the digitalization in education is not for sure bringing added value. In the sense, in the past, I mean, you could immediately understand how you could use the developments, digitalization for positive effect. There was no real risk. So, okay, maybe it's difficult to actually do it, to learn. There's a lot of teacher training, but it was clear that it would have been beneficial for the learning. Now is the first time where we need to not take a step back and allow the researchers to make longitudinal analysis and studies. So it will take some time to have real answers. It's clear that you stop writing because you only use ChatGPT. You will never learn how to write properly. I mean, you get out of university and people expect you to write a concept quite sophisticated, and you're not able to. So I'm glad that they use it less at the level of secondary education than they use in higher education. I think it's already a problem in higher education. I'll just say that it's quite complex, and we really need academics to study deeply before actually taking action to actually integrate it well in school.
So part of the problem that we're faced with is that the rapid change of AI may lead us into the wrong kinds of decisions about how we deploy AI. So actually we need to slow down, do the analysis, do the research, and then take action based on that analysis.
I think it's the first time we really need to wait, because it's really dangerous. And then if you just introduce it, and then after 5 years, you actually damage a whole generation. Those 5 years they didn't learn to write. It's like COVID, just 3 years of COVID, and you see a generation of students which were in lower secondary, which have serious problems in upper secondary. So if you rush too quickly into it, I think that you are at risk of damaging a generation of students.
Laura, did you want to comment on that?
Yeah, I can see the point made by Filippo. On the other side, I think AI is already here. Students are already using it, and we have to teach them how to use it in the proper way, of course. We have some guidance on it. Academics are researching, and they tell us about how it is important to write the right prompt, for example, how to fact-checking the AI generated text. For example, if we are discussing about text, how to interpret an image generated by AI to check if it is worth or not, if it is actually truthful or not. So this is this kind of education we have to provide, and we have to do it now. The second point is, for example, we are starting in October 2025 15 courses here in the Marche region on the mechatronics and so on. And each and every company is asking us to introduce AI into the training path. So we did it and we imagined it, and we are actually designing the learning path with AI. With this, I mean, we introduced AI, for example, to analyze data, which is the most common. I think we can do that safely because, for example, in the Internet of Things world, we are building smart things and we have to introduce actual artificial intelligence. The second aspect is to learn how to use the artificial intelligence embedded in the softwares we are using in the companies. And they are very useful and they can make us very productive. So this is how we can integrate, for example, artificial intelligence into the training path of our students.
Brilliant. Thank you, Laura. So it's about integrating it, making sure that we're working with AI to develop those skills rather than fearing it and keeping it as a separate topic for them.
I think it's absolutely spot on. I mean, we have to go that if the AI is already used as a part of a qualification, you have to teach it. Otherwise, the student gets out of school and that cannot work in the company. So we're thinking a bit more in terms of AI for basic skills and competences. That's where it's a bit tricky. But as long as it's part of the working process, inevitably it's going to be a crucial element of the training program.
Thank you. And Concetta, you did talk about the adaptability of policy. AI must be part of your consideration, is it?
Yes, absolutely. It makes part of the, let's say, of the theory of integration of AI in the working process. Obviously, if it's a tool that can support people in the working field, obviously we have also to consider the legal aspects of it. We have to integrate it in our legal frameworks. And as already said, obviously we have to create the legal basis for the adaptation. But before we have to analyze it, and obviously I agree with what the other panelists said, that we have to study it. It means to create a knowledge base that allows really to understand the limits, but also the potential of this integration. And obviously also quality has a strategic role in that, because if we would like really to have an approach which is useful for the people, we have to analyze it from different point of views. It means not only from an ethical point of view, we have to consider it also in terms of potential, in terms of what we can reach, because at the end it can be also a support to people, support that can bring to different kind of skills development, also of potential of new skills, also skills that we have probably still not studied. So it can be obviously integrated, but what we need is to go forward with the research, and then obviously we can make a proposal to our policymakers.
Excellent. Thank you, Concetta. Giovanni, we probably have time for one more question. Is there anything else from the audience that we haven't already dealt with?
Yes.
What about Ukraine?
You have one question for Yuriy.
Yeah, Yuriy? Would you like to use ChatGPT for the one?
Yes, we use. I think nowadays, before was the question, please show some examples how to use AI. Nowadays, we use AI to compare. Okay. Now we use AI to compare a content in civilian qualification with content in military qualification, because we have a very big challenge in our country. Veteran Fund say that after the end of the war, we will have nearly 5 million veterans. It means that we must build a trajectory for them to integrate in civilian life, in civilian market place, labor market. It means that we don't have enough time, wait, and that's why it's the first step we try to use, and prepare nowadays a methodology to comparing military skills and civilian skills, and AI help us nowadays. But I think the main challenge in the future will be how to integrate AI in the exam commissions, how the students or other people that want to recognize, for example, their professional qualification, take it in informal education or non-formal education, how AI will react in it, and if it will be put in the government rule that AI checked the possibility, the skills. I think it's the main challenge in this area.
Thank you so much, Yuriy. Oh, thank you. That was very loud. And Yuriy has just touched on it. I do believe that Skillman has a huge strategic opportunity now to work with colleagues like Yuriy from Ukraine on post-war reconstruction, particularly with the orientation towards skills. So I think that's a challenge we should all accept over the next few years. Thank you, Yuriy. I don't know whether there's any more questions, Giovanni. Is that all? Yeah. Can I just check if anybody else from the audience would like to ask a question that you haven't already asked? Time for a break. Can I ask my panel if there's anything else that you haven't already said that you really felt a burning need to say before we finish? No, not seeing it. That's all.
For anyone that is interested in more about the concept of Win4S, I mean the coves and coves.eu, I think the Win4S MEES project, and also we have Gunnar Binder here that is present. You can refer more for details if required, and he can explain more about how to achieve this.
Thank you so much, Faton. So, colleagues, I'd just like to round off our panel there for this afternoon. I actually just wrote 3 words down, and I don't know whether they're of interest, but as we've been having the conversation this afternoon, I found 3 words all beginning with A, and one of them is not AI, and that's adaptation, alliances, and anticipation. So I think those are 3 words that I think have been a theme through all of our discussions today. The theme of partnership, for me, actually has emerged very strongly over the conversations today. That ability and attitude towards collaborating with others to create new value, that seems to be a particular driving force of coves. The anticipation that Filippo introduced us to, the ability to anticipate future skills, also seems to be an essential element of it. And we have talked a lot today about adaptation, the ability to move quickly in what one of our colleagues this morning referred to, the VUCA environment that we're living in, that volatile environment we're in. So I think that just remains for us to thank all of our contributors to the panel this afternoon. I've certainly learned a lot listening to you. Thank you also to you for participating so well in the questions, and I think we just need to show our appreciation to our panel. Thank you all, colleagues.